Hey, what's up, guys? Mike's here. Well, it's probably brighter right here, and the lightning here and the sun is so much brighter. Uh, so what now? Oh yeah. Uh, I'm gonna read another part of this one. Another part of Mountain Flame. So you already know by that. Not by much. Maybe. Yeah. I'm gonna do another one. So we'll just see what's going on between Lance and Keith. All right. Prior to the show, Keith didn't really have any strong feelings about Metallica. He knew of their music, had listened to some before he lost his hearing, some of it later. He liked them well enough, but if you asked him prior to the concert what band he was most excited about, it would have been Avenged. But what he's not expecting is to be blown away by their stage presence. Night falls by the time they take the stadium lights go out, leaving them in a blanket of soft darkness, and Lance drags him into the crowd. It's nearly tripled in size since Volbeat, but Lance doesn't push it too deep. Content to merely hang at the edges. The screens towering over the stage light up, being clearly visible for the first time now that the glare of the sun is no longer there. The screen plays old in quality, but easily recognizable from the good, the bad, and the ugly. Lance pulls out his phone to record it, and Keith glances around, noticing that pretty much everyone else is doing the same. The stadium is dark, the horizon casts in a muted red glow to the west. The shadows of the floor and the bleachers lit up with a bright white glow of phone screens, twinkling like stars. It's oddly beautiful. The screen goes off as the clip ends, and he turns back to the stage in a brief second of tense silence before the music drops. It's loud, louder than two bands. He's pretty sure. He likes it, can feel it, shakes through his core, rumbles in his chest, sends fire through his veins. The screens go light up again, flickering between images of distorted faces and brief images of the band members on stage. Above the stage, two balloons start to inflate, distorted images decorating the sides. Lights flash. He can feel the audience cheering around him. He can feel their energy. Lance is practically vibrating inside, and when he turns to look, he suddenly loses all interest in the stage. When the lights flash across his bronze skin, highlighting and shadowing the angles and curves in turn. His eyes are wide and bright, staring the rapt attention and framed by lashes that are far too long to be fair. The curve of his smile is intoxicating, even more so now that he knows what those lips feel like, what he tastes like. His neck is long and tempting, flowing down to the curve of his shoulder. Keith stares at the tendons, which watches his Adam's apple bob as he sings along, wants to sink his teeth into his collarbones. Where a hand holds up his phone, still recording part of his side, revealed through the absurdly long armholes of his muscle tank. He stares at the darker patch on his side, knows it's a thick trail of forget-me-nots that traveled down his side, over his hip to disappear beneath his pants. Lance showed it to him once, when he was showing off all his tattoos at the shop. He wants to know how far those flowers trail, wants to run his tongue along them, trace them, make an experience that Lance can't forget. He's so busy staring that he doesn't realize the song is over till Lance is putting his phone away. He glances sideways and catches Keith's eye, smile widening a notch and setting something sizzling down Keith's spine. But then, there's fire on stage, and Keith's tension is snapped back. A lot of fire. Fire swirling and whirling on the screen, overlaying the video feed on the performers on stage. Wheels of fire. Fire dances across the stage. Fire occasionally blasting from around the stage. Keith's mouth falls open, awed, as Lance sidles up behind him, arms wrapping once more around his waist. He feels the boy laughing. He leans back into him, immediately melting into his embrace, resting his hands on Lance's arms. Lance's own hands aren't hesitant this time. They move across Keith's exposed midriff, playing lightly along his skin. He leans his head against Keith's, and Keith can feel the ruffle of his hair from Lance's breath as he sings. The flames from the stage are hot whenever they flare out, but it's nothing compared to the heat coiling in his gut. The next few songs pass in the blur. The music vibrates through him, rattling his core, fear switching with the drums. Lance waits behind him, head nodding over his shoulder. His hands constantly move over his stomach, up and down his sides, rising up his ribs before dipping back down, dance seasonally from hip to hip, making him shudder out shaky breaths. Sometimes his hands roam to his hips and thighs, forcing him to sway with him to the music. The whole time Lance is singing, to every song. Keith can feel it. Can feel the small, more subtle vibration of his chest behind him. Can feel it in his puffs of air that breathes across his skin. Can feel it when Lance dips his head to ghost his lips over Keith's neck, his ear, his shoulder, mouth forming words that Keith doesn't know. He nods his head along, lets the music sway his body, leans his weight back against the solid form of Lance's chest. Jesus. He feels so good behind him, all hard edges on soft hands. There are several mosh pits open up near them, but for once, Keith feels no real desire to join them. Not when he's pressed to Lance like this. He has never really had a strong feeling about Metallica, but at this point, he's certain that he won't be able to listen to them without the memory of Lance's hands ghosting along his body. Through the set, they find themselves toward the back of the floor, where a fair number of people have retreated to sit down rather than continue to stand near the stage. He sits with his legs spread and Lance nestles between them, leaning back against his chest and slouched enough that his head can get rest on Keith's shoulder. Keith's knees rise on either side of him, holding him in, one hand stretched out in front of them. Keith's cheek rests on Lance's head. His hair is so goddamn soft. It's ridiculous. And he manages to smell nice after a day in the sun, which is just plain witchcraft. Keith enjoys the feel of it against his face as he nods to the music. Lance's snapback was removed once Keith determined it was getting in the way, and is currently perched atop of his own head for safekeeping. He usually doesn't like wearing hats like this, but it's Lance's hat. So, yeah, he'll deal. His arms are around Lance's waist, and his hands idly play along with the drums against Lance's exposed stomach where his tank has ridden up. He's not too familiar with Metallica's music, but he's been playing the drums long enough to pick up on patterns and make up his own when he gets lost. He'd been drumming for years. It's been his outlet for years, and he sure as doesn't going to let losing his hearing take that away from him. He practiced, he learned. Position of muscle memory is drilled into his body, and he keeps it there. He can feel the beat when he plays, knows how things feel to make them loud and soft, likes to lose himself in his drum set where he can, when he can. Lance doesn't mind being his temporary drum kit. In fact, if anything, when Keith told him what he's been doing, Lance just looked at him with surprised awe. He looked impressed, which only made Keith's chest flutter and fill with surprising shyness. Lance just turns him into a fucking mess in so many different ways. Between songs, when there's not a heavy enough drum beat, Keith lets his hands explore Lance, much like Lance has done with him. He finds his favorite thing to do is play with the two studs on either of his lips. They're piercings he doesn't see a lot, and he's quickly realizing he likes them a lot. He wonders what it will be like to run his tongue over them, to hold Lance's hips so he can squirm, make him shudder and gasp as Keith tees closer and closer. Overall, Keith is really enjoying Metallica. He can feel their music shaking through the air and vibrating the ground beneath him. They fully utilize the resources available to make their show visually appealing. Different lighting effects of each song. Different things on the screens. Some fire displays, some fireworks. Between that and Lance, he is never lacking for something to look at. Lance continues to sing, seemingly knowing all the words of every damn song. He doesn't mind. Though he can feel Lance's voice rumble in his chest is oddly soothing, incredibly cozy. Not to mention what he's doing in his hands. Ever since they sat down in this position, Keith behind him and his hands not free. Lance has been signing. Whatever he sings, whenever the lyrics, his hands are moving. They stumble occasionally as he can't find words as quickly as they come. But for the most part, he's actually a pretty damn good interpreter. His ASL voice is relaxed, fluidity to it that speaks of years of confidence, and without the rigid atmosphere of those who learn in a classroom. The oddest part is Lance has seen really realize he's doing it. It's almost an afterthought, pull dance in his hands that he barely thinks about. When Keith asked him about it between songs, Lance just shrugged, giving him a sheepish smile and saying that he's usually signing songs for his sister when they're listening to music. So he thought he'd do that so Keith could look at the lyrics whenever he wanted to. It's incredibly endearing and ridiculously considerate and kind. He's far too fucking cute for Keith's poor heart to take. When Lance asked if he wanted him to continue, he just buried his face in Lance's neck and hid the happy fucking grin he knew he was on his face, and squeezed him tight. He had felt Lance's laughter, and now he's come to the conclusion that it's one of the best feelings in the world. When 11 o'clock nears, Keith starts to feel nauseous. Nerves fight the butterflies in his stomach, his skin alternating between hot and cold. He doesn't want to leave, doesn't want this night to end. He's really gotten a taste of Lance, and he craves more like a man of dying of thirst. He doesn't know if Lance is picking up on his nerves or if he's feeling some of his own, but he can feel him getting restless in his arms. He shifts, glancing up at Keith occasionally. He stops sighing. Instead of taking to running his hands over Keith's arms, squeezing his fingers. As the band starts up their first encore, Keith leans forward and presses his lips to Lance's ear, with his arm hammering against his ribs, blood ringing in his ears, and breath coming in shallow puffs. He managed to whisper, "Come home with me?" He can feel now rag and hoarse his voice sounds. Lance shrugs against him, hands tighten around his forearms, pressed so close he can feel him swallow hard. Then he nods, quickly and eagerly, before saying quick, "Okay." Relief and excitement hit him hard, flaring up and burning through his veins, melting away his anxieties and leaving his nerves alight. He still can't take a deep breath, but it's for much different reasons as something warm and flaring seizes his chest. He's dizzy with it. He chuckles softly, feels Lance shudder against him. He tilts his head back onto Keith's shoulder, back arching in a way that's so fucking beautiful. Keith obliges him by lowering his lips to expose length of his neck, kissing languidly before sinking his teeth in. He thought feeling Lance's laughter was the best feeling in the world, but he quickly realized that Lance's moans are a really fucking close second. Alright. That is a long read, but you will see the whole thing right here at the very end. Probably be good enough when you reading this way because I kind of like it. And that's the end of part 8, guys. And see you guys next time. The next time. We got part 8 already finished. Now let's do the part 9 later on. Alright? Okay.